Just imagine how cool it would be if you could visualize the Steam marketplace over time. You might be able to see how game development trends rise and fall, and you might even be able to predict what's going to happen in the future. Come with us on a journey as we show how Steam has changed over the years, and stick around to the end and we'll discuss how things are shaping up in 2025. We built a map of Steam so we could do cool stuff like this. It's a whole other topic that we cover in another video, but just know that we have this 2D map of Steam that allows us to visualize areas that are highly saturated with lots of games that are released, that's your red areas, and blue areas where there's fewer games. The TLDR is we can visualize the most popular gaming market segments. We're going to use this map to travel through time and see how these markets have changed. The year is 2012. There's under 3,000 games on Steam, which is shown by this grainy image here. This is the map with most similar games placed close together, and the brighter areas show more games. The darker areas are markets that probably don't even exist yet. This is all like super abstract, so let's try and label the map so we can get our bearings and understand what each one of these markets is. Here are some nice labels to show you the kind of games that we can expect in each area of the map. You'll notice that there's areas like VR experiences, which are currently just a big black hole. That's because these games don't exist really yet, but we're going to see them explode over time. Oh, and in the bottom right hand corner you can see the number of games currently on Steam for the year that we're showing. Just a quick caveat for this, it's not showing every single game, it's a little bit deflated. That's because we can't include in the map games that don't support the English language or simply just don't have enough information to be able to model their similarity accurately. So there's roughly about 10,000 games that we're just not including here. So let's hit play and we can watch how Steam changed over time. Whoa, so that was a lot, I'll admit. There's just a lot changing here. How can we know what market segments are growing or subtracting? How do we make sense of all this? Well, lucky for us, there's these awesome things called clustering algorithms. We can use them to group similar games together, and we see this here on the map as big white blobs. These blobs are basically market segments because they're groups of very similar games, and the size of the blob tells us how many games are in that segment. What's really cool is we can also colour the blobs by the number of releases in the current calendar year compared to last year. So if it's really red, it means there's more releases. If it's blue, then there was fewer releases than the year before. What we're seeing here on the screen is the blobs or the market segments in 2025. So now what we can do is watch how the market segments changed over time, which is much easier to look at. Pretty sweet, right? So let's go over what we can see. The first big change that we saw in the Steam marketplace was the explosion of VR in 2016, which was really driven by these high fidelity VR headsets that we'd not seen before. This led to some really cool innovative projects like the sandbox game Job Simulator or the spy themed puzzle game I Expect You to Die. Unfortunately for game devs, VR would turn out to be a bit of a bubble. Despite its rapid growth, the market quickly contracted. The persistently high cost of VR headsets and the powerful PCs they require has remained a major barrier for many consumers. And now we'll have to wait and see if innovation in the VR hardware space will bring confidence back to game devs. Another market that saw rapid growth on Steam was a certain adult-themed market. I mean, it's no secret by now that Steam is a hotbed for certain raunchy content, but oh boy did it grow after 2018 when Steam basically said we'll allow anything on the platform. As you can see from this graph here, the not suitable for work market segments begin to rapidly outpace the average market segment growth in the Steam marketplace. Of course, this is a massively contentious topic right now, and we imagine that the recent changes are going to really disrupt this marketplace, and we could see a decline in the number of NSFW games coming out in the next couple of years. 2019 was a really weird year for Steam. It saw a lot of market segments see fewer games being released compared to 2018. 2019 was the first year that Steam saw real competition that it hadn't seen before with the release of the Epic Games Store. We also saw a contraction in a number of markets and the number of games being released on Steam just slowing. So we all love a history lesson, but if you've stuck around this long, you're probably thinking, can you just tell me what is happening in the present? It should be no surprise that we continue to see the decline of VR games. We saw 15% fewer games released in 2024 in VR market segments compared to 2023. We saw a decline in other market segments as well though, including the point-and-click detective investigation games that used to be dominated by powerful titles such as the Broken Sword series, the Sherlock Holmes series, and also King's Quest. This doesn't mean that you can't perform in this segment, however. We saw the release of Aora Hills Chapter 1 in 2024, and although this is a free-to-play game, it performed really well and it received really good reviews. Finally, we've seen a decrease in popularity in Mahjong games. This is probably because there's some very popular free-to-play games that suck up a lot of player attention in this space, so it might be very difficult to compete. But we are seeing some innovation in this space, trying to bring new ideas to a very classic game mechanic. So now we've seen what game segments were declining last year, let's look at what segments have been growing as we progress through 2025, and what does this mean we can expect from the game dev community as we progress through the rest of the year. It looks like life simulators are really popping this year, with more than double the releases so far this year compared to 2024. We've seen hyper-realistic games like Inzoi, but we've also seen the addition of more cute, traditional 2D life simulator games like 2 Pixilia and Little Sim World. We've seen a 150% increase in market segments for casual fishing games. These are 2D casual, just cozy fishing games where you're mostly just sat there casting a line and chilling out. This seems to be a general trend across Steam right now for really cozy idle games. So it's no surprise that market segments for idlers and clicker games, they have also gone up by about 120% compared to last year. We've seen games like Tiny Pasture and Desk Garden. These are sort of just desktop idle games that can just sit there and you can play them while you're going about your daily business. It seems to be a real trend amongst game developers to ship these sort of experiences right now. With the crazy success of games like Balatro, it's no surprise that we're seeing more releases that try to innovate on traditional card mechanics. We've seen He Is Coming this year, which has just been a wild success, but there's also been other titles come through like Big Winner, Happy Poker, and one that I really like is called Deckline. This looks really cool, really gritty, and really innovating in this space. With just over double the amount of new releases in these market segments compared to last year, we can expect many more games like this to hit the marketplace. A segment that really took me by surprise, but I think is just awesome, is a new market segment around typing mechanics. There's games like Needy Streamer Overlord, which just looks hilarious, but also Type Inc. My favourite though is a game called Blood Typers. These games try to include typing as a mechanic. So for example, in Blood Typers, you use typing of words to carry out your attacks. This market segment has grown by over 225% compared to last year, so it seems to be a really new growing genre. Before we finish up, I just want to say that no model is absolutely perfect, and I definitely wouldn't claim that our Steam map is. These models are just a useful way of summarising a very complex market, and none of this can ever be claimed to be an exact science. There's just too many factors at play to ever be able to reliably predict where the market is heading. I hope you found this interesting, and if you really like the Steam map and you want to see where we're going with this, Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.